Yeah. Now that you already know what is GFR, do you want me to go over what is glomerular filtration and tubular reabsorption again, or can we skip that directly to the tests?
We know, sir.
You don't want? Okay, cool. What about the rest of you? That was one person's answer. See,
Sir, but still we can revise it, no?
see that is another person's opinion. I need
Yes,
at least
sir.
five, six
Yes,
people.
sir.
Agar if they want me to go over it, then we'll go over it. It'll only be brief, but still we'll be saving time if we don't go over it. Okay, I'll just go over
Sir,
it in any case.
sir,
Okay, for those of you who want some revision and all. Right. Now, in a nutshell, glomerular filtration is a passive process, right? Passively, your blood will keep on circulating where ultrafiltrate is formed. Now, anything which is more than 70,000 Daltons here, the vertical weight is not measured. 2 days back. Okay. So recent. तो फिर से क्यों इतना पुराना है इतना early है तो
Yes, sir. 2 days
hold on.
back or
Then you know what is renal threshold, right? I'm guessing you know what are renal thresholds. What all? Yeah, Moise. Hi. Yeah. Renal thresholds मालूम है नहीं मालूम है? What is renal threshold and what is what do you call this thing? Main functions of your kidney with respect to absorption. You don't know. Okay. See, renal threshold of any substance is basically a limit. Okay, there is a limit to which your let's suppose you are talking about glucose. Okay, there is a limit to which your body will what you call tolerate the increase in that substance. Now, if I talk about glucose, generally your body will tolerate till your blood glucose level is around 180 mg per dl. Okay, till that point there will be no renal excretion. Beyond that threshold, glucose will start being excreted in urine. That is basically renal threshold. Okay, I hope you understood. Now, as the definition goes, there are certain substances in the blood whose excretion in urine is dependent on their concentration. Meaning, if their concentration goes beyond normal, okay, normal concentration of glucose should be way below 180, but your body will tolerate up to 180 as well. Okay, your blood glucose should be somewhere between. What should be your normal blood glucose, by the way? I'm guessing तुम लोगों को ये already पढ़ा दिए. कितनी पढ़ाए बोले तो ये पढ़ाते. What should be the normal amount of glucose in blood? Acha, find out and tell me what should be the normal amount. Now, 180 is obviously beyond normal limit, but your body will be able to tolerate up to that point. Okay? It will rely on other mechanisms to excrete glucose. After that threshold, glucose will start getting excreted in urine. That is renal threshold of substances. Now, it can be any other thing as well. For example, if I have, let's suppose, fibrinogen or albumin or some other substance, okay, that is being accumulated in my body, even if it is, let's suppose, lipids or cholesterol. If there is way too much amount of a certain substance beyond its threshold limit, then it will start getting excreted in your urine. That is renal threshold of substances basically. Okay, I hope you understand that. Right, now here it gave an example of glucose. See, renal threshold of glucose is 180 mg per dl. Ketone bodies is 3 mg per dl. People are still coming in. Oh dear, 1 second. Right. Now, of bicarbonates is आप लोगों को buffer system पढ़ा है? Blood buffer system?
Yes, sir.
Blood and okay, then you know the significance of bicarbonate. You need not go over it. Okay, so bicarbonate should be around 30 milliequivalents per liter. Now, tubular maximum, on the other hand, is the maximum capacity of a kidney to reabsorb a particular substance. In the sense that the maximum amount of what do you call particular substance. For example, if I'm talking about glucose, the maximum amount of glucose, if and when glucose is being excreted, let's suppose by some pathological conditions you do not have it in excess. Okay, let's suppose there is a person who does not have glucose in excess, but because of some pathological condition, because of some disease, what is happening is glucose is being excreted from your kidneys. Okay, there is a maximum capacity of your kidney to reabsorb that thing back. Okay, that will be your tubular maximum. Now the tubules will maximally absorb around 350 mg per 350 mg of glucose per minute. Now anything beyond that, if it is being excreted, for example, let's suppose 500 mg is being excreted per minute of glucose, okay, then your body will only be able to retain 350 mg. Rest of the 150 mg is lost. Okay, I hope you understand the concept between tubular maximum and renal threshold. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, coming to kidney function tests, what you will test is basically it can be categorized into 4 parts. Now, how glomerular function you will test, you will do this by what you call basically testing its clearance. How well it is clearing certain substances. If it is more, if it is less, what is the condition? We'll go over it in detail. But clearance is one way of finding out glomerular function. Then to understand tubular function, you will what you call find out what is the urine concentration or dilution test, or you can also do blood concentration in some ways to assess tubular function, how well your tubules are working. Okay. Other than that, you can also measure directly blood and serum. That will also indicate kidney function. Certain proteins and certain chemicals, if they are present in your blood in a higher quantity than normal or in lower quantity than normal, that will indicate kidney damage. All right. And then there is urine examination. Urine examination for you, it is in a different chapter altogether. Unit 14 is urine examination, urine analysis specifically. We'll go over the last one in the next chapter. Okay. Now, first of all, coming to clearance test. Clearance is defined as basically how it is. It is the amount of substance that is cleared per minute. In the sense that, for example, if I talk about creatinine, okay, creatinine. Do you know what is creatinine? Did you guys went over what is creatinine? Creatinine. Okay, I'll take that as a no. So normally, what happens is there is a particular substance called creatine. Okay, there is a particular. Someone else has had a doubt as well. Control H, 1 second. Right. Now, creatine is a particular substance that is important for muscle building, for anabolism, basically for any particular function that particular your muscle specifically will use it for movement or sustenance. Creatine is a particular substance. Okay. Now, whenever creatine is undergoing metabolism, there will be an end product called creatinine that is formed. Okay, 1 second. The spelling is from creatine you get creatinine. Okay, you can see the spellings in the chat box. Now creatinine is what we'll be measuring specifically. Now that is one type of clearance test. So in this case you will be measuring how much amount of that particular substance is being excreted or cleared by your kidneys per minute. Okay, in generally in ml, that is how you measure. That is where you will what you call see clearance test, and you will assess the function of what you call you will assess the function of your glomerulus basically. What happened इतने लोगों की chart में? Aim Antonado aim. If you have a doubt, please do tell me face to face. If you have a doubt, please tell it out. Others might have the same doubt. I do not know what your level of knowledge will be. I have to drop down to your level of knowledge every time I'm teaching you, because you have to come up. That is what is happening in every lecture. If you do not ask doubts, every time it will be aim Antonado emo. See, until and unless you guys ask doubts, you will not be able to understand. Until and unless you physiology and anatomy is proper. That is why the first question I asked is, do you know what is the kidney function? If 2 days back there was a class of physiology and you're not able to tell shit about kidney, then how do you expect me to teach you a renal function test without knowing the function of kidney? That is just nonsense. If you have a doubt, talk it out. We are here to clear your doubts. अगर अभी भी डाउट है तो पूछो, कोई स्पेसिफिक डाउट नहीं है तो मुंह बंद रखो. right? Now, when we are talking about clearance test, it is basically what we call the, as I told you, the amount of one particular substance that is measured in ml that is being cleared by your kidneys per minute. That is how you assess the function of glomerulus. Okay, because it is doing the main filtration function, you will assess the function of that particular glomerulus by assessing its clearance. Okay, generally speaking, clearance is measured using this formula. Now you will substitute V and C and P, V and U and P to get clearance of different substances, so that you get substance specific clearance. Okay, you will understand it in a bit. Now here, please be careful of V. It is not per se the volume of urine that is being excreted. That is the volume of urine in ml excreted per minute. It is the rate, not the volume. Okay, so you have to be careful of that. It is the rate of that particular substance being excreted. Okay, how much what you call, how fast that, but what you call, urine is being excreted, rather than how much it is being excreted, because that will be taken care of by UNP. Okay, concentration of that substance in urine divided by concentration of that substance in plasma. That is how you know. Now, for example, hold on, I'll show you one. Generally, inulin is a homogeneous what do you call, substance. You use that to measure GFR. You will have that test in your textbook. Again, you can use several such substances. Inulin is one. You can use fructose. You can use other substances as well. Now, see, creatinine clearance, basically in this you are measuring the amount of creatinine, which is an excretory product from creatinine phosphate. I told you creatine is something that is used by your muscles for normal functioning. If you do not have creatine that is proper, what will happen is your muscles will not work properly. You will not have proper anabolism. If your muscle is undergoing normal anabolism, creatinine to a certain extent will be formed. Now, fluctuations in this will generally indicate some problem, either which is muscular or a problem which is renal related. Okay, basically kidney related. Now, excretion of creatine is constant. Okay, this is not influenced by body metabolism, but it is influenced by the amount of muscle you have and age. Okay, here here it is mentioning that dietary factors do not play a role, but I would argue to say that someone who is taking in more amount of protein, okay, someone who eats red meat a lot, or someone who eats meat in general a lot, they might have fluctuating levels of creatine a little bit higher. Okay, slightly higher than normal creatine clearance, because they are simply ingesting more amount of creatine. Okay, if you can understand the difference, if I am comparing two people, let's suppose one person is a vegetarian, the other is non-vegetarian, and what you call, if I check the creatinine clearance of the vegetarian person, they will have a certain normal amount. The what you call, person who is eating non-veg, they will still have normal, but they will be on the higher end of the normal. So if I have a range from, let's say, 5 to 10 is the normal creatine, this is an example. Okay, 5 to 10 is the normal creatine clearance. So 5 or 6 will be what is the creatine clearance of a vegetarian, versus 9 or 10, the higher level of normal will be someone who eats, maybe one is someone who eats more red meat specifically, or someone, generally younger people have higher what you call creatinine, because they generally tend to have more muscle mass, or some bodybuilders, right? Someone who's an athlete, they generally tend to have higher amount of creatine clearance, because they ingest more and they excrete more amount of creatinine. Okay, that is how you measure creatinine clearance. Now I will show you the formula so that you understand. See, creatinine clearance may be defined as the volume of plasma that would be completely cleared of creatinine per minute, meaning how much volume of creatinine in plasma is being excreted by your kidneys in a minute. That is how you measure creatinine clearance. See, now the same formula will apply. Creatinine clearance, now instead of C, you will write CLCR. Okay, you will write it like this. Creatinine clearance is abbreviated this way. Or you can write CRCL as well. Some textbooks will write like this, some textbooks will write that. That basically refers to creatinine clearance. Now, this is measured by obviously urine concentration of creatinine. So first of all, you have to know what is the concentration of creatinine in urine. Then the output of urine per minute, how much urine is being output in a single minute. Okay, if you have if you average it around a day, you will have to find out how much amount of urine is being output per day per minute. Okay, So you have to divide the whole days into different minutes. You have around 84,000 minutes in a this thing. Sorry, some 2,000 minutes in a day. So you will have to do that calculation. P will be the concentration of urine in serum. So that is how you measure. You take urine concentration, creatine concentration in urine, you multiply it with the rate of urine output. So how much amount of urine is being what you call excreted versus divided by the concentration of creatinine in what you call serum. The concentration of creatinine means serum creatinine basically. That is why that fellow didn't mention. Okay. Now reference ranges. See, creatine clearance is very important when you are assessing kidney function, because there is one particular very important condition called chronic kidney disease, whose stages will be based on creatinine clearance. You will understand that in the next slide. Okay. Normally in a reference range, creatinine clearance is 120 by 1 to 145. Okay, that should be the normal clearance range of a person. Okay, that is why you have such a big range, 25 ml का difference है. So someone who is having 143, 140, they are on the higher end of normal, but they are still normal. Versus someone who has around 120, maybe 125, that is around the lower end of the normal. This will vary based on gender, based on muscle mass, based on age. All of that will come into picture. Okay? Sometimes even on diet. Now, serum creatinine normal range, meaning the amount of creatinine that is present in your blood that should normally be present in an adult male is around 0.7 to 1.4. Anything more than 1.4 will indicate that there is some problem in your kidneys, and there might be rhabdomyolysis. There might be degeneration of your muscles as well. That is also one of the condition wherein your serum creatinine will go up. In females, it will be 0.6, slightly lower, 0.6 to 1.3. Children definitely much more lower because they have much less muscle mass. See, it will strongly refer to the amount of muscle mass as a person has. Okay, if someone has more muscle mass, they will have a higher creatinine clearance. If they have lesser muscle mass, they will have lesser creatinine clearance, because creatinine is something that is very correlating to the amount of muscle a person has, and depending on the metabolic activity of that particular muscle, right? Now see, chronic disease, the grading of chronic kidney disease will be based on this, what you are seeing is based on GFR, and sometimes GFR is also correlated with creatinine. If it is creatinine clearance specifically, rather than creatinine serum level, it will be correlated with creatinine clearance, that 120 by 145. Okay. Now generally normal amount, okay, it should be more than 20, more than 100 actually. So यहाँ पर slightly less than 90 will be grade 1. Okay, यहाँ पर greater than 90 दिया, but it is somewhere around 90 you will have grade 1 CKD. Okay, minimal damage to your GFR, to your kidney, sorry. Now stage 2, your GFR is going slightly lower, 60 to 89. Okay, from here on out you have to be very careful when giving drugs. If someone who has a GFR of 60 to 89, you should not give drugs that will get metabolized by your kidney. You will understand it better next year, but just keep in mind that some drugs, see, mainly drugs will be excreted in two ways, two main ways through which drugs are secreted. One is urine, the other is bile. Okay, these two are the main ways through which urine are secreted. Sometimes you will have feces, sweat, all of that, but these are the two main ways. Now if I have a patient whose kidney is not working properly, okay, especially to an extent where they have grade 2 CKD, I should not give them drugs that will be excreted by their kidney, or at least I will do a risk benefit analysis, in the sense that the risk of giving that particular drug should be lower than the advantages or the benefits of giving that drug. Okay, so you have to weigh that out as well when you are giving it. You will understand it a little better next year, but keep this in mind. Okay, then as you keep on going lower and lower in GFR, the grade will increase and you will have lesser function of your kidney, meaning at grade 5 you will have proper kidney failure wherein your GFR is less than 15 per minute. Okay, less than 15 per minute, this will generally warrant kidney transplant or severe kidney damage. Okay, your kidney will basically stop working properly at all. Now what is the diagnostic importance of this creatinine clearance? Okay, now this will basically help in assessing kidney function, early detection in impairment of kidney function. Specifically, if someone is having decreased GFR, if they are having decreased amount of glomerular filtration rate, this will directly indicate that, or creatine clearance. I told you GFR and creatine clearance will go hand in hand, kind of replaceable. All right, they can if GFR is going down, you can be sure that creatinine clearance is going down, or and vice versa. If creatinine clearance is going down, generally GFR will be low. Okay. This will indicate kidney dysfunction, impairment in kidney function. So the earlier you are able to, what you call, diagnose what you call this thing, decline in the GFR, the earlier you'll be able to treat. That is the diagnostic importance of creatinine clearance, right? Now coming to urea clearance, now urea is also an end product of protein metabolism. So at the end of protein metabolism, this you will understand in chapter 5 better, because you will have protein metabolism in that. You have a chapter, the macromolecule protein as well. So at the end of protein metabolism, you will have something called urea that is being formed. This is what you call, obviously excreted by your urine to a maximum extent. Hence the what you call, products of urine will also be urea. One of the most important products of urine is urea. Right? If your kidney is not functioning properly, urea will start getting accumulated in your body, and you will have all sort of what you call symptoms like malaise. You will have what you call nausea, vomiting, and what you call general fatigue. All of that will happen. Sometimes even toxicity. Now, what will happen is, once it is filtered by your glomeruli, this is partially reabsorbed by renal tubules, meaning it is not completely reabsorbed. Again, I'm hoping that you understand the difference between secretion and reabsorption, and you know what is reabsorbed and what is secreted at PCT, leukophilin, and DCT. Okay? This is part of physiology. If you are having confusion in that, read your physiology once, then come to this. All right. Now, generally speaking, urea clearance is much less than GFR and creatinine clearance, because it is influenced by protein content of your diet. So this can be variable, very a lot more variable than the muscle content, because there is a big difference between the amount of muscle someone is carrying versus the amount of what you call protein content they are consuming. You can have people who what you call carry a significant amount of muscle, but what you call their protein intake is not exactly correlated. They might not be taking in as much, at least for that day, or maybe for that week. Let's suppose someone is traveling, and they are not able to get the same amount of food or diet that they normally consume, which is higher in protein, maybe higher in amino acids, all of that. So in that condition, though their muscle mass is high, their what you call creatine clearance will become, the diet will be low. In the sense, urea clearance will become much lower. Okay, so that is kind of correlatable. Creatine clearance will still be high, because the amount of what you call this thing, your muscle mass remains similar. At the, even if you what you call travel for 1 week, your muscle mass will not change significantly. Almost no difference will be seen. But urea clearance, on the other hand, will fall. Okay. Again, urea clearance will have the same formula, C is equal to U by V. Your parameters will change. Maximum amount of urea that is being cleared in urine into your the rate basically of your this thing, क्या बोलते हैं, urine that is excreted per minute versus the urea concentration in plasma. That will be give you the clearance of urea, the amount of urea, the volume of urea that is being excreted per minute, or that is being cleared per minute. All right. A standard way of measuring is this. You have a standard way and you have another way, the two ways of what do you call, you measuring urea clearance. You have the same for creatinine clearance as well. Okay, what is the diagnostic importance of this? Now, urea clearance value below 75, okay, of normal, serious, because this will start indicating renal damage. If it follows, if it falls below 50, it will be a much bigger problem. Okay. Generally, blood urea level is found to increase only when clearance falls below 50. This means that you will have a significant spike in the amount of urea in your blood only when the clearance of urea is falling below 50. See, normally what I'm telling is, if I have urea, urea is being formed at the end of protein metabolism, that is cleared by your kidneys. Okay, fine. If less than 75% of what do you call or let's say if urea clearance falls below 75%, in the sense that normally, let's suppose 100 units of urea is being cleared per minute. Okay, for example, 100 units of urea is being cleared per minute. If it is falling below 75%, meaning what do you call, around 25 units of urea is being cleared, so less than 75% is being cleared at this time. ठीक है, that is when you will start seeing indication of renal damage. ठीक है, and if it falls below 50%, at that point itself you will start seeing a spike in urea level in your blood. All right, I hope you understand that concept. If you did not understand, if you haven't understood anything till now, please let me know. Feel free to stop me at any time and ask any doubts. Okay, now coming back to this thing, blood urea level. See, it your urea level in blood or serum urea level will only increase when clearance falls below 50%. Okay, that is when you can be sure that there is some renal damage going on, because normal urea blood level should be around 20 to 40. It will significantly go up. Okay, now again, like in jaundice, your what you call blood urea will be based on what kind of renal condition you have. It can be pre-renal, renal, or post-renal. Okay, now pre-renal condition will generally what you call surmise, excuse me, will generally summarize your dehydration, vomiting. The dehydration can be due to vomiting, it can be due to diarrhea, it can be due to several other, it can be due to burns, it can be due to fever. Any form of dehydration, that will be the pre-renal cause of increase in blood urea. Renal causes will be glomerulonephritis, wherein you have a pathological condition, a diseased condition of your kidney itself, where your kidney is being damaged. Now, glomerulonephritis is an inflammation in your glomeruli. Nephrosis is a condition in which your whole kidney is not working properly. Malignant hypertension is a condition in which your your blood pressure will go beyond what you call 200. Basically, 200 by 140 will be the blood pressure. That is malignant blood pressure. Malignant इसलिए नाम रखे इसका. It is named malignant because it will start having negative effects on your organs. It will start damaging your organs. The amount of blood flow at that period of time, if that amount of hypertension occurs, you will start seeing damage in your organs, in the sense that, for example, you will start bleeding out of your retina. That is one. End organs will get damaged. Basically, your brain will get damaged, your cardiac tissue gets damaged, your retina gets damaged. All of that will happen. Okay, chronic pyelonephritis is a condition in which you will have an infection all the way in your urinary tract. Okay, post-renal causes will be obstructive kind. Okay, your stones, enlarged prostate, tumors of the blood, any form of obstruction, that will increase urea level because it is not being excreted properly. Now, there are a few medications as well that will cause increase in urea. You just need to memorize them for now, because you will understand the mechanism of how these work next year. I'll just tell you in briefly. ACE inhibitors are used to decrease blood pressure. So if someone has kidney dysfunction, you should definitely not give ACE inhibitors. Also diuretics. Okay, diuretics is something that will increase diuresis. It will increase urine production. That is how you decrease. Both of these are antihypertensives. They decrease blood pressure. Okay, acetaminophen, as you know, is basically a painkiller. Your paracetamol is called acetaminophen. Aminoglycoside is an antibiotic. All right. Now, what happens if you have decreased blood urea? Urea concentration, this might be low. In certain conditions, it is normal if you have low amount of blood urea, especially in case of starvation, if you're not having enough amount of nutrition, or if your diet has very low amount of protein, or if there is hepatic failure, or in case of low pregnancy. In all of these conditions, your blood urea will go below 20. Now, normal range was 20 to 40 mg per dl. Decreased amount of blood urea you will be able to see in these conditions. All right, the serum urine, that is. Now, azotemia is a particular condition in which you will find urea, or what you call nitrogen specifically, being increased in your blood. That is a condition in called azotemia. This generally refers to kidney failure. If your kidney is properly failing, then you will be able to see azotemia. Right. And then you have urine concentration tests. Okay, this is the last part. Now, urine concentration test, you will measure the osmolarity and the osmolality of your urine. Okay, the number of osmoles and what do you call the basically, for this you have to know what is osmole and what is osmolality and what is osmolarity. Okay, I am hoping that you know what is osmolarity and osmolality. It is basically the number of moles present per kilo, or number of moles present per liter. Okay, moles is the number of molecules. Now, if I'm talking about osmolarity, it will be measuring number of molecules of a particular substance in a liter of that particular reference range, whichever I'm seeing. Okay, if I'm talking about urine, I'll tell, let's suppose osmolarity of urine will be the total amount of substance that is present in the urine versus the amount of urine that is present. So 1.5 liters में कितने substituents है, that is liter wise. Osmolality you'll be measuring in kgs, so you will measure how much weight 1.5 liters of urine has, and again you'll measure the number of substances that are present in urine versus the what you call amount of urine in kgs. That is the basic difference between osmolarity and osmolality. This will give you the specific gravity of urine, or basically the density of urine, how concentrated your urine is. Okay, you will understand this a little better in the next chapter anyway, a brief introduction of urine concentration test. So this will conclude your kidney function test. We'll do thyroid function tomorrow and continue with what should we do? Carbohydrates start करेंगे या urine function test खत्म कर देंगे?
Urine function test, sir.
Urine function. Okay, that ठीक है. ठीक है, चलो. See you in the next class then.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.